Welcome everybody, it's Unstoppable Stelezzi here with another Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition casted match for you. This time we got Breaking Me back with us again as the Chinese, playing against the Aztec Enjoyer, which of course will be playing as Aztecs because, well, they enjoy the Aztecs, hence the Aztec Enjoyer. So, should be a pretty interesting map experience with them since there is water here. We are on the map Florida, so Florida has a pretty good section here for fishing. So we might see another potential Aztec Fish Boom here, just like we saw with Kynesie. But that begs the question, if that does end up happening, will we see a very similar Kynesie situation happening here where Breaking Me breaks them? Yeah, let's find out. Let's find out right now. So here we are with Breaking Me here in the right side of the map, and then on the left side of the map we have Aztec Enjoyer. So, Breaking Me, as you know, has a very different way of playing the Chinese than we've grown up with in the original game. Breaking Me is breaking boundaries in how you play China. Right? So, basically the way Breaking Me does it, he uses the T export card to go with the French allies, not the British, not the Germans, actually the French. Which is pretty strange because all these build orders from the past, I remember, always used to tell us, let's do the Russians, right? Because of the blockhouse, because of, you know, how that blockhouse is supposed to save us some wood, give us an early place to make our bear armies. But no, Breaking Me has figured out that actually the French allies are better because they can give you those wonderful resource crate technologies, which you can use to give you crates for aging up initially, and then use the wood and coin ones obviously for infrastructure and even more stuff than that. So it's pretty good actually. So yeah, and from there he actually does a very different wonder. He actually does the porcelain tower. Yeah, the porcelain tower. You didn't expect that, did you? Pretty much every China you've seen at this point usually does either the summer palace for the banner armies, or potentially the White Pagoda if you were trying to do anything with the Disciples and the Shaolin Master. But nah, he sort of has figured out this formula between the French consulate allies and the Porcelain Tower, where you can set up a very meaty, fast fortress with it that can propel you to almost certain victory usually. So we'll see how that ends up going over here. But on the left side of the map, we got the Aztecs. Aztecs, as you know, a very solid 1 versus 1 civ. Very good in their aggression with the war hut. They also have the potential of fast fortressing thanks to trade route as well as their community plaza propelling them in that direction. So let's see actually what these Aztecs end up doing at the end of the day. Do we know what the deck is just yet? So yep, we do know what the deck is. This actually looks like a non-water deck. Yeah, no fishing. No fishing at all. Looks totally land-based. So what do we see here? We see our pretty good villager cards here. Our resource crates. In terms of early game, you do have the double war hut card there for aggro as well as Antonins. The warrior priests are pretty critical for setting up your community plaza. It's one of the most critical buildings of the Aztecs to take advantage of. Also your Kalmakek as well. So yeah, pretty much all the necessary competitive Aztec cards there. As far as mid-game is concerned, we do see the boosters for the Antonins, the Aaronites, and the Urks, the Eagle Runners. So that should be something worth looking into as well. That being said, it looks like they've already aged up with the fast age up. And from here, looks like the Porcelain Tower is already coming to full fruition right now. Looking at the Breaking Me China deck, you can sort of see why the French consulate allies are pretty smart. Notice here how a lot of the China decks of the past used to include the infinite 300 food to help you age up on time. Notice how he said, "Azzy too fast." Yep, that lovely fast Aztec age up, but other than that, basically the French consulate allies allows China to skip the 300 food card in Age 1 altogether because, surprisingly, the technology from the French consulate that gives you the food crates actually gives you more food than that card does, surprisingly. And in Definitive Edition, because the card here, T Export, trickles you export on top and giving you 100 right away, you can actually get that tech in a reasonable amount of time before even reaching really the time that you're normally supposed to age up, which means you're essentially getting more food to work with than even that 300 food card would even give you, giving you much better results. So, yeah, it's a big mouthful, but basically, French consulate from T Export greater than 300 infinite food card any day of the week. Yeah, so that's pretty much all you need to know about that. As far as this stage is concerned, it looks like we are going to have some sort of a fast fortress here from China, like we've usually seen with Breaking Me. But he is wary of the Jaguar Prowl Knights in his north attacking his trade route. Remember, the Aztecs do get that big button ability from their TC that lets him send out some Jag Knights even before they reach age 3, so he needs to do something about that. Best solution would be Chukanus, of course. They're a skirmisher unit. They have multipliers against these Jag Knights. So we'll see if he chooses to engage with them or not. What he ends up doing, using the War Chief as a meat shield to push the line forward, and hopefully then the Jag Knights might get a chance to start slicing and dicing into the Chukanu. So Chukanu trying to reposition, using as much time as possible with the Shaolin Master and his disciple there to buy them some time, and yes, it was enough time to wipe out all the Jag Knights. Now you just have to fight through all these allied treasure guardians that the War Chief was able to collect. Along the way, these blowgunners. Let's see, that one's gone, and then you just have to get rid of this one, right? Yep, pretty much. So, yep, here we go with the very critical card to the Breaking Me build, the +1 Castle Rickshaw with Flamethrower. It does a few things, obviously. It gives you the castle for defense, but you also get a Flamethrower that you can either use now defensively, or when you're preparing your rush forward, you'll have that Flamethrower available to wipe out any sort of infantry that the Aztecs have on the front of their army, right? So if they have Pumas or Antonins, Flamethrower, very bad for them. Very, very bad. And the second wonder that Breaking Me does is, no surprise, the Confucian Academy. This is obviously good because it gives you about 8 arquebusiers at this stage, and it sets you up to receive free flying crow artillery from it constantly over time, so that's always good. One thing that Breaking Me makes sure to do, unless he's in a bit of a defensive pickle against a civ like Brits or whatever, he usually likes to put his castle sort of mid-map so he can prepare an actual assault once he reaches age 3. And his favorite banner army to do so is the, I believe it's the Mongolian banner army. The one that combines the steppe riders and the Kejiks. Yep, this one right here, the Mongolian army, a flexible army of heavy and ranged cavalry. That way he's got the Kejiks to deal with the coyotes, and he's got the steppe riders to deal with the Antonins. And obviously you have some Chukanus and a Flamethrower there to deal with any Pumas that come out, so it's a pretty well-rounded set, usually. But oh no, the Aztecs are also going to age 3 as well to pick some of their more critical units. The Jag Knights, the Urks, the Arrow Knights, but primarily the Urks and the Jags for now. Boy, wow. Look at this horrible situation here. Flamethrower right on top of the constructing noble huts. This is the worst situation you could find yourself in. Such a beautiful timing attack by Breaking Me there. He literally broke his opponent's mind doing that. Lost his entire age-up advantage of the 2 noble huts, and now... Yep, see, that's big. He basically alluded that. It's big. No Jag Knights for you, no Urks for you. So now you're in this situation where you really can't do much, right? So he's just saying, yeah, jawohl, in some Germanic tongue, and he's going to probably try to do some sort of defense now. What can he do, though? He can make some warriors. They, interestingly enough, have some multipliers against the Flamethrower because it is indeed a siege trooper, but other than that, not much he can do right now. He's stuck making age 2 units in age 3. All that food and coin that could have went into an army is now spent. So, looks like the ball is definitely in Breaking Me's court. And it's about to get worse too, because What we're going to see next is this card here. Basically the Beiyang army. It sends you about 8 Kijiks, 8 Step Riders, and it researches their veteran upgrades for free. So basically it's like the most godly card to ever send if you like the Mongolian army from the castle. Big time. So yeah. Oh wow, wait a second now. Something's changing here. We see the Black Flag army. This is another banner army we've seen Breaking Me do before. So this one is a little bit different. This one includes Kijik. Nope, this one includes Chengdaos and Meteor Hammers. So a little bit of anti-artillery and a little bit of anti-cavalry. So even more stuff that you're covering there pretty much. One advantage of the Meteor Hammer over the Step Rider, of course, is the fact that it has that range, right? The long range attack with that string and metal balls, so it can sit behind the back of the front lines a bit safer. That's good. Hand mortars working on the infrastructure right now. Warhut will most certainly be lost. Not much he can do right now. He doesn't have any sort of coyotes now, so these hand mortars are sitting pretty right now. And of course, if the Atons get too close, he can most definitely send his Step Riders in to hunt those down, yeah. Looks like Aztecs were able to set up a noble hut to the corner over here, and they will start to trickle in some Urks, some Eagle Runner Knights, to deal with all this heavy cav here. Will it be enough, though, is the question. Flamethrower is burning right through that War Chief right now. Flamethrower will start to torch these Montanans as well. And some disciples were produced from the Shaolin Master as well to act as another sort of cavalry, right? Did you know that these disciples were actually cavalry? The same class of cavalry as the Coyote Runners. They actually are, and can be really good for pushing skirms away. Big time, so yep. Looks like the hand mortars are continuing to shell away at that TC. TC should be down any moment, and from there you go after the Noble Hut that's pumping out all these Urks. Right? Step Riders keep getting pushed in to deal with the Antonins, keep them in the back, keep them in check. That way the Kijiks aren't being overrun by them and they continue to be a protective force. Arrow Knights are starting to come out right now. The Arrow Knights will be used to snipe the hand mortars primarily. Yeah, that's primarily what you use Arrow Knights for, is sniping artillery from long range. Yep. So note I was getting those in the position right here. Even though he might be able to get rid of those hand mortars, it doesn't fix all of his problems. Even without the hand mortars there, you still got a big army of skirmishers and cav archers here that you still have to deal with. So, yep, looks like the Arrow Knights have been able to stall him some time for right now. Currently is using the Community Plaza's attack-based stance, set up to 20% attack improvement right now, because he can really use any sort of defense he can. Also, TC will be reconstructed as well. That being said, we see some more Mongolian armies being pumped out. Beiyang army was already sent, so the veteran upgrade is already active. And from there, we do have some powerful shipments, right? He could send 10 Chengdao for some siege. He could send some Meteor Hammers in for some anti-Antonin. Could even send some of these powerful Mercs like the Iron Troops or the Manchu. So it's really up to Breaking Me and whatever his needs are here. Looks like right now the Arquebusier numbers are so large that really the Urks can't really stay in one place for too long. And that gives the Step Riders a chance to eating into the Antonins and now the Arrow Knights. Right, saving the last few... Oh no, wait a second now. They seem to squeegee out and they're going after the last hand mortars there. But that shouldn't change things too much. China still has a substantial army there to keep the push going, and can at least clean out all these troops that Aztecs are doing. Prevent them from getting an army to push back at all. Because that's really what China's vying for here. Not just the ultimate siege, but just to keep Aztecs cornered in their base and not doing anything productive on the economic side, right? Look at all the villagers that essentially are stuck in the back of the base pretty much. You can't go after the hunt here or there. The only hunt he even has anymore is this one. You can't even come over here at all, so China has effectively short-circuited his way from basically getting any additional food outside that teeny-weeny area. And with that, with all this momentum of troops, there's really not much the Aztec player can do to really salvage the moment right now. And here is the remaining parts of the Aztec army getting swept up by step riders and meteor hammers. Kynesie's chasing down the last two Urks, and we'll finish off the last Santonin and start eating into the villagers now. Very last line of defense. GG. While Aztec Enjoyer enjoyed the Aztecs, he definitely did not enjoy the outcome of this match. As you can see, the Breaking Me China build involving the French consulate and the porcelain tower gives you a lot of resources to work with. You know, having the porcelain tower that early, already trickling in all those resources, it's quite good. It's quite beneficial. And then to boot, it leads to some really good army production, outnumbering the Aztecs army pretty well and resulting in a pretty good kill rate there. Yeah. I mean, I will say the kill rate between the two players is pretty similar, but if you have more troops, obviously you're going to get better results, as you can see there. So yeah, this was a pretty good showcase of the Breaking Me China build again, and it just shows even if you're not dealing with a fish booming genius like Kynesie and dealing with a real land Aztec opponent, Breaking Me China still gets the job done rather well. So good job Breaking Me doing that one. If you enjoyed this Breaking Me game, consider watching some of the previous ones I did on the channel in the Age of Empires 3 Definitive Edition Kynesie game playlist. Otherwise, I'll see you in the next one that I cover. So sign off now. GG, well played.